Deeptika Murhari Rao, currently pursuing my degree first year in Ignite IAS Academy. Today, I am going to discuss about Vedic civilization. The content of topics are origin of Aryans, Rigvedic period and later Vedic period. Now, going on to origin of Aryans, we can see that according to Dayanand Saraswati, who is an socialist and philosopher, Aryans have migrated from Tibet. Whereas when we look on to the other perception, Balagangadhar Tilak, who is an Indian nationalist, have said that Aryans have migrated from Arctic. He also wrote a book, Arctic, the home of Aryans. According to A.C. Das and Sampur Nanand, another two philosophers, Aryans have migrated from Saptasindhu region. Looking, sorry. We know that the entire Vedic civilization is divided into two periods, early Vedic period and later Vedic period. The most important thing in the early Vedic period is that Aryans are confined only to the Saptasindhu region. You can see in the map, this is the Saptasindhu region, and in the early Vedic period, the Aryans are confined only to the Saptasindhu region. Going on to the economical conditions, in the early Vedic period, the economy was pastoral economy. Despite we have seen in the earlier civilization Indus Valley that their economical condition is agriculture, but whereas if you see here, it is pastoral economy. Pastoral economy is animal husbandry. And you can see that the words Ashva, which means horse, and Go, which means cow, are mentioned many times in early Vedic period. And when you look on to the second activity, which is agriculture, the secondary activity of early Vedic period is agriculture, and the most importantly cultivated crops are wheat and barley, which are known as yavas. Here it is important to remember the terms like yava, which is mentioned in the early Vedic period. And the tools which are used for agriculture included plough. This plough is known as Sura or Langala. The most important professions. In the early Vedic period, we have seen that there are many professions. But in that, the most important professions are Kulala, Kolika and Takshana. The word Kulala means pottery maker. This also indicates the art and architecture of that period. Kolika means weavers and Takshana means carpenters. Whereas when we come to the uses of metals, they have used copper and bronze, which are known as ayas. Copper and bronze might have been used for many things like making ornaments as well as making agricultural tools. And if we come into the economy, the most important thing is trade. And if we take the current context, the trade is done through money. During the early Vedic period, the trade is done through Suvarnanishka. Suvarnanishka is used for trade transitions. You can see the picture of Suvarnanishka here. And when we move to the economical conditions of later Vedic period, and the most important thing in the later Vedic period is that Aryans were confined not only to the Saptasindhu region, but they have migrated from Saptasindhu region to Gangetic plains. You can see in the map, this is the Saptasindhu region and the highlighted red color part is the Gangetic plains, and Aryans have migrated from this Saptasindhu region to Gangetic plains. Now coming to economical conditions, the pastoral economy which was in early Vedic period has been replaced with agriculture, and the most extensively cultivated crop is rice, and this rice is known as virhi. We have to remember these terms which are mentioned in this civilization like virhi, aya and all. And here iron has come into the play, and this iron is known as Krishna Aya. Maybe iron have been used for making agriculture tools like plough and also for ornaments. And the most important thing is trade, commerce and handicrafts are much more developed in later Vedic period when compared to early Vedic period. This development have led to the formation of new urban cities like Hastinapura and Indraprastha. Now, if we look on to the political conditions of early Vedic period, the king was known as Gopala. As we have earlier known that Go means cow, here we are saying that it is Gopala, which means he is the one who takes care of the cows. So the major activity of the king is taking care of the cows. And the rich man is known as Gomati. Whereas the wars in this period are known as Gavisti. So we can come with these three words that in this early Vedic period, the political conditions or the administration is centered with the animals, especially with the cow. And there are many famous battles that have been mentioned in this period. And one of the famous battle is Dasrajan War. Many people go into misconception with the word Dasrajan. Thus means 10, but the thing in this is thus in the Dasrajan war there are 11 kings that have fighted and not the 10 kings. The king Sudama, who belongs to Bharata tribe, have fought with the alliance of 10 other kings. Who is with the alliance is headed by Purkusta, who belongs to Puru tribe, and his guru is Vishwamitra. So we have to particularly remember here the Dasrajan war is not between 10 kings, it is with 11 kings, one king fighting with the 10 other alliances. And in the administration, the most important part is economy or the making of income or generating the revenue. In the early Vedic period, the king has generated the revenue through two sources of income. One is Bali and the other is booty. Bali is the voluntary donations that are done by the people of his village, whereas booty is what he procured from the vas. That is basically cows. In the early Vedic period, the entire administration is centered with the cows. And in the administration, the most important part is assemblies, and this early Vedic period has four assemblies known as Sabha, Samiti, Vidata and Gana. Going to Sabha, it is an assembly having elderly members, and most importantly this Sabha also allowed women into the assemblies. Whereas Samiti is a general assembly which consists of all the members of the tribe. When we go to Vidata, it is assembly which settles the disputes. If you take this Vidata in the present day context, it is equal to the Lok Adalats which settles the disputes at the ground level. And when we look into Gana, there is no much information about Gana, but it is also a sort of assembly in the early Vedic period. Now, going to the important officers, you can see the list of officers are Purohita, Sayanapati, Gramini, Prajapati, Spasa and Ugra. Here, Purohita means Purohita means priest, which shows the religious conditions of that period, whereas Senapati means commander. Here, if the king is the king is strong enough to have a commander, it means that he is strong enough to maintain the military. So this shows that the early Vedic people have a strong strength in military. Whereas Gramini means the head of the village, Prajapati means the one who takes care of pastoral lands, Spasa means a spy, and Ugra means a policeman. This shows how a developed manner the administration is there in early Vedic period. Now moving to the political conditions of later Vedic period, we can see that there is formation of many Janapadas. Janapadas are republic or independent kingdoms. So there were many Janapadas that are formed during later Vedic period. One of the most famous Janapada we know is Magadha. And when you compare the activity of the king, before in early Vedic period, the king's main activity is to take care of cows. But now his name changed into Bhupala. The Bhu means earth. So here his major activity is to take care of the land and the people. And also the most important aspect of later Vedic period is that in this period for the first time the word Bhaga, which means tax, has been introduced. And to collect this tax, the king have appointed an officer and he is known as Bagaduga, and the entire tax which is collected has been taken care by the treasurer, and this treasurer or the treasury officer is known as Sangrihitri. And the important thing is, until now the king doesn't have any advisor, but in the later Vedic period the king was assisted by 12 officers. These 12 officers were popularly known as Dvadasa Ratnas. Now, when we move on to the social conditions of early Vedic period, in the Rigvedic period, reading the first point, the Rigvedic Aryans had a family headed by Kulappa. Kulappa means father. So, this clearly denotes that the early Vedic period is a patriarchal system. And if you could see, they have allowed both Aniloma and Pratiloma marriages. Aniloma marriage means a higher caste male is allowed to marry a lower caste female, whereas Pratiloma is opposite to Aniloma, where a higher caste female is allowed to marry a lower caste male. So we know that we have four Varna systems which include Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas and Shudras, right? So Brahmins are considered as the most higher class. So if we take, for example, if we take Aniloma, a Brahmin male was allowed to marry a woman from any of the three lower castes. So this is the marriage system that is being prevalent in the early Vedic period. And to be importantly noted, child marriages were not allowed. The sati was mentioned, but it was only symbolic. Most probably it was absent and it was only symbolic. There was no practices of sati. And importantly, encouraged women education. There were women scholars. The early Vedic period or the Rigvedic period have mentioned many women scholars like Gosha, Apala, Lepamudra and many other scholars were mentioned in early Vedic period. And polygyny and polyandry both were being accepted in the early Vedic society. And more importantly, Niyoga system was there. Niyoga system says that the childless widow can marry the brother of dead husband. So clearly in this society, widow remarriage was allowed. Now looking onto the social conditions of later Vedic period, we can clearly see there was a decline in the position of women. We can see that there is child marriages and existence of sati. Here itself it clearly mentions that the position of women have drastically declined and there were no widow remarriages. The widow is being abolished from the society. There are no widow remarriages and only Aniloma was allowed, no Pratiloma was allowed and only polygyny was there and no polyandry was mentioned. And women were especially confined only for serving men. So all these aspects clearly shows that there is a decline of position of women. Even if we take the perspective of education in the early Vedic period, we can see that there is a good amount of women encouraged for education, which is evident through the scholars like Gosha and Apala. But if you come to later Vedic period, there is no such encouragement for women, especially in education. And more importantly, they are confined only for serving men and giving birth to legal heirs. And the types of marriages that were there are Brahma Vivaha. The types of marriages in the later Vedic period are Brahma Vivaha. Brahma Vivaha is a type of marriage in which the entire marriage is done according to the Shastras. Now moving on to the next marriage, Daiva Vivaha. It is a marriage done where when a priest goes to someone's house and performs a ritual, he can marry the daughter of that house as a dakshina. If we take the present day context, when we do some ritual in our house, we do give dakshin to the priest in the form of money or food or clothes. But in Daiva Vivaha, the priest was given the daughter of the family as dakshina. Whereas in Arsa, the cow and bull are presented as the bride price by the groom. And in Asura, this Asura is only specified to Vaishyas. No other caste perform this Asura marriage, and this is only for Vaishyas. And in this marriage, either the bride can buy the groom or the groom can buy the bride. Prajapatya, this is a normal marriage, and in this marriage, there are no economical transitions. Coming to Gandharva, this type of marriage is only for Kshatriyas, and here there is a mutual agreement of both bride and the groom. Rakshasa, this is also applied only to Kshatriyas, and in this marriage, the bride is being captured by the groom. Whereas Paisacha, as the name says, it is the abducting of girl. Forcefully, the groom abducts the bride. So these are the conditions in the later Vedic period. When we go to the religious conditions of early Vedic period, the people have worshipped the nature deities. That is, they have mentioned all the nature gods. And most importantly, the Rig Veda mentions 33 gods and goddesses, which giving importance to Indra and Agni. In the Rig Veda, we consist of 1028 slokas. In the 1028 slokas, the Indra was dedicated 250 slokas and Agni was dedicated 200 slokas. So this itself shows the importance of Indra and Agni as nature gods in early Vedic period. And the prayers are very normal, which included only yajnas or a simple form of prayer, and the prayers are only for children and animals. But if you see the religious conditions of later Vedic period, the nature gods were replaced by Trimurtis. The Trimurtis, as we know in the present day, are Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. The Brahma is the creator, Vishnu is the protector, and Shiva is the destroyer. Shiva, in his finest form, is known as Rudra. So, he is the destroyer. And people have also worshipped the Ashtadikapalakas. And more importantly, we have talked that in early Vedic period, the prayers are very simple and the prayers are for children and animals. But if you look on to the later Vedic period, the rituals are very expensive. Maybe the kings might have performed like Ashwamedha Yagas and many other highly expensive rituals, and might contain animal sacrifices. And more importantly, prayers are not for children and animals, prayers are for material things. And if you could see, this would lead to the social condition where normal people couldn't afford to these things. So summarizing the entire topic, I would like to say that the origin of Aryans is from Tibet, Arctic, and Sapta Sindhu. When we look on to the economical conditions in early Vedic period, it is a pastoral economy, and if we see the economical conditions of later Vedic period, it is agricultural economy. And the important professions in the early Vedic period are Kulala, Holika, and Takshana, and the trade, commerce, and handicraft has much developed in later Vedic period. When we look on to the political conditions of early Vedic period, the king is known as Gopala, and a rich man is known as Gomati, and the most important activity of the king is to look after the cows, and he used to get his income through bali and booty. Whereas if you look on to the political conditions of later Vedic period, the king was replaced with the name of Bhupala, and his major activity is to protect the land and the people, and he has introduced the taxation system which is known as Bhaga. And if you look on to the social conditions of the early Vedic period, highlighting the position of women, there is a drastic decline of position of women between early Vedic and later Vedic period, and the society is patriarchal society. In the later Vedic period, it is highly dominated by men, but in the early Vedic period, women were given some sort of position in the society by Niyoga system, encouraging women education, mentioning of women scholars, and also there is no sati and child marriages. When we look onto the religious conditions in the early Vedic period, the religious condition based only on pure worship, and when you look on to the later Vedic period, it converted to material things. That is, the prayers of the people are for material things, and in the early Vedic period, people have worshipped the nature gods. But when you look on to the later Vedic period, the people have worshipped Trimurtis. Now moving to the most important sector is PYQs. It is very important to know the PYQs to know the trend of the examination. Here we have a question with reference to the difference between the culture of Rigvedic Aryans and Indus Valley people. Which of the following statements is or are correct? It is most important to know the theme of the question. Here the theme of the question lies with the culture. So the question is asked based on culture of Rigvedic Aryans and Indus Valley people, the difference between the culture. Reading the first option, Rigvedic Aryans used the coat of mail and helmet in warfare, whereas the people of Indus Valley civilization did not leave any evidence of using them. We have seen in Rigvedic means also known as early Vedic, as we have mentioned earlier. Rigvedic Aryans used coat of mail and helmet in warfare. We have seen that people have warred, like in the political conditions of early Vedic period, also in later Vedic period, we have mentioned there were many wars, and we have also mentioned about Dasrajan war. So people have used coat of mail and helmet in warfare, whereas the people of Indus Valley civilization did not leave any evidence. When you go to Indus Valley civilization, we can see there are no such wars happened in that civilization. So we can come to a conclusion that this option is correct. Now moving on to the second option, Rigvedic Aryans knew gold, silver and copper, whereas Indus people know only copper and iron. So the other name of Indus Valley civilization is also bronze civilization, and it is clearly mentioned that the bronze is used by Indus Valley people. Here they have mentioned that Indus Valley people know only copper and iron. So obviously this option is wrong, right? Moving on to the third statement, Rigvedic Aryans have domesticated the horse, whereas there is no evidence of Indus Valley people having aware of this animal. So we have mentioned that Rigveda have mentioned the word Ashva, horse. So the first statement is correct, whereas there is no evidence of Indus Valley people having been aware of this animal. It is mostly nowhere mentioned about the horse. This statement has little contradictions, but yet this is also a correct statement. So now the options, looking on to the options, A is 1 only, B 2 and 3 only, C 1 and 3 only, D 1, 2 and 3. We have already come to a conclusion that 1 and 3 only correct answers. So we'll go with option C. We can also do option elimination here. As we clearly know that option 2 is wrong, we can eliminate B as it contains of 2, and we can also eliminate D as it contains the second statement. Now we are left with only two options, that is 1 only and 1 and 3 only, that is A and C. This will help us to analyze more easily. Let's go on to the next question. The previous question is asked in 2017 UPSC CSE exam. The next question was asked in 2012. The religion of early Vedic Aryans was primarily of. As we have discussed the religious conditions, we can easily answer this. The early Vedic people have a pure worship, and they have worshipped nature gods, and they have performed yajnas. So here we have option A, bhakti. This is nowhere mentioned, so this won't be the answer. And image worship and yajnas, image worship is nowhere mentioned, so this will also be a wrong answer. Worship of nature and yajnas, here clearly mentioned worship of nature and yajnas, so this is the correct answer. Now if we look on to another question, 2011, the Dharma and Rita depict a central idea of ancient Vedic civilization of India. In this context, consider the following statements. Let me explain you first what is Dharma and Rita. Dharma is the moral conduct. Like if you do a work, it should satisfy us as well as our neighbors. Like it should be good to us as well as the good for the whole society. That is what we know as Dharma. And Rita is the moral law, like karma, which runs the whole world. Now let's see the statements. The first statement says that dharma was a conception of obligations and of the discharge of one's duties to oneself and to others. So the second part clearly says discharge of one duties to oneself and others. This clearly defines dharma. So the first statement is correct. When we come to Rita, was the fundamental moral law governing the functioning of the universe and all it contained. Here it clearly mentioned moral law, so this defines the Rita. And we have to more importantly remember that these two statements are directly given from NCRTs. So it is more important to know the importance of NCRT. These questions were direct statements in the NCRT. Now going to the options, which of the statements given above is or are correct? So we know that both are correct. Option A is given 1 only. Option B is given 2 only. Option C is both 1 and 2. And option D is neither 1 nor 2. So option C is correct. Moving to next question. As we have seen till now the prelims questions, let's also have a look on the mains question. This question was asked in a very recent past, that is in 2023. Let us go with the question. What are the main features of Vedic society and religion? Do you think some of the features are still prevailing in Indian society? So the theme of the question lies with Vedic society and religion. It is more important to understand the theme of the question. So we have to mention the main features of Vedic society. The social conditions we can write in perspective of women, we can write in perspective of education, we can write in perspective of sati. So the society we can mainly highlight the women's position, and whereas religion we can show the differences between the later Vedic period and also the early Vedic period, about the nature gods and the Trimurtis, and also the way of performing of rituals and the complications of the rituals. And going to the second part of the question, do you think some of the features are still prevailing in Indian society? We can either write pro or against to this. So if you would ask me, I will say we can write pro to this question, as some of them are still might be prevailing in the Indian society. So you have to answer in 250 words. We should be able to write a good conclusion as well as a good introduction. So this is all about Vedic civilization. Thank you.